Ahoy, and welcome back to Leia's Library. Find yourself a cozy corner, get yourself something nice and cozy to drink, and let's get started. Today, we are going to be Take two. Today, we are going to be looking at books that I just don't like them. For reasons. I have reasons as to why I don't like them, which we will be discussing. But yeah, I just wanted to have a good old-fashioned, mildly ranty video as a treat. And as a disclaimer, I'm not saying that objectively all of these books are bad. I am saying that subjectively, I didn't like them and I kind of think they are bad. But that is my opinion, and if you like any of them, that's great. I am genuinely happy for you, and please don't let my opinions, affect how you feel about them, because if you like something, just keep on liking it. I fully support that. They were not for me, but you have fun. This video is meant for fun. It's for a haha, for some catharsis, and for entertainment. Please don't take anything too seriously. Live your life, and I will try to live mine. So yeah, with that being said, let's get into it. So the first book on the list is Gathering Blue by Lois Lowry, which is a middle grade dystopian fiction. It's actually a companion piece / sequel to The Giver, which is her most widely acclaimed, her most famous writing. Oh my gosh, her most famous book. Oh, I lost the ability to formulate proper sentences. Anyway, Gathering Blue is about a girl named Kira who lives in a very cruel society where any weakness is immediately cast off, which is a bit of a problem for Kira because she has a lame leg. One of her legs is twisted. She has a twisted leg. And she's just been orphaned. So she faces a very uncertain future until she's discovered to have a gift that saves her and kind of ensures her survival. And as she continues to survive, she uncovers the dark secrets of her world. So by itself, this book might be okay. It has a mildly interesting premise, which I don't think is executed super well, but if you were going in completely blind, it might not be so bad. But as the follow-up to The Giver, which was very good, it's so disappointing. All the tension that was so masterfully built up in The Giver is just not here in Gathering Blue. In The Giver, you're introduced to this seemingly idyllic society, but right from the start, something feels off. And that feeling just builds and builds and builds over the course of the book until the revelation. But with this, there's no buildup at all. Everyone in this society is just cruel and mean and selfish, and for some reason, they all hate their kids. They're super neglectful and abusive to their own kids, like everyone. And they just hate them. They just hate their kids. And I don't understand why. It was never, properly explained unless I missed it. Because, if you hate having children so much, why do you keep having them? Just don't do that? So, yeah, that I found really hard to just kind of accept and move on with the story. Magic is also introduced in this book, I think. I mean, it's not like, oh my gosh, I'm not wearing the right earrings. I forgot to put my earrings on. Oh no. Okay, I got my book earrings back. All is right in the world. What was I saying? Oh yeah, magic? Kira is discovered to have a gift for embroidery, but it's not just that she's very good at embroidery. She can also, I can't remember exactly what it was. I think she can see the future in her embroidery or something like that. But there are certain people in this world that have gifts that are basically magic. which was kind of jarring because that was not present in The Giver. Wait, actually maybe it was the whole... Not me just entirely forgetting that in The Giver of memories is fully able to transmit memories to somebody. That was a thing. Oops. But I thought that went more in line with, like, they were able to kind of scientifically determine who could do these things rather than it just being kind of like magic. But yeah, I don't know. That might be not a valid an argument as I initially thought. I still found it kind of jarring. Anyway, one thing that I do think is still super valid though is that the ending was so abrupt, which was weird because it ended at a place where it felt like okay, now the real work can begin. Except no, it doesn't. It just ends on a very strange note it was just such a strange ending. All that to say, it was a very frustrating read, especially after The Giver, which was so good. So yeah, not Lois Lowry's best work, but I do recommend The Giver. Side note, if you've never had rose tea, do yourself a favor and try some. It's so good. It's one of my favorite kinds of teas, especially if you are in England. Go to, oh gosh, how do I say this? I don't want to say it Whittards. That sounds wrong. Whittards. Whittards English rose tea is divine. That's what I'm drinking right now, and it's so good. It smells and tastes like candy. And also like rose. Okay, the next book on the list that I don't really like is definitely gonna upset some people. And I'm just waiting for somebody to tell me that I just didn't understand it. It's Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. I didn't like it. For those unaware, Brave New World is a dystopian science fiction set in a futuristic version of our world known as the World State, where every individual is genetically modified in order to fit in an intelligence-based social hierarchy. So right when people are born, because people aren't really born anymore, it's all sort of done artificially. When people first enter this world as babies, they are automatically sort of assigned a social hierarchy, and then which is collaborated with an intelligence level, and then they are sort of spoon-fed the information, like the base knowledge that they require to be in that level of the social hierarchy, through like what do they call it? They would play repeated sentences over and over to the babies as they slept, so that it would just kind of become ingrained in them. Anyway, I'm going on way too far with what it's about. So I'll be blunt. I thought this book was boring as hell. It was so dry and so dull, and it was such a slog to get through. The ideas it brings up are really interesting, and a lot of the science that is painstakingly described is actually fascinating. But my goodness, reading it felt like playing a game of Operation while being on horse tranquilizers. Also, everyone in this book kind of sucks. And I'm not saying that all characters need to be good or likable. There are plenty of stories where the main characters are less than exceptional people, but they're still compelling, and you're still interested in their story. Just look at The Blade itself by Joe Abercrombie. None of the protagonists are good, per se. But even when their personalities are downright unlikable, we're given something compelling about them to keep us engaged, whether that be a tragic backstory that's quite fascinating, or a lot of charisma, just something. Give us anything. But nope! The protagonist of Brave New World has the personality of boiled chicken, and when push comes to shove, he's just a sniveling little doormat. And the female lead, whose name I can't remember any of the names in this book, I'm so sorry. But yeah, she is basically just there to be an object of desire, so... Now, granted, it has been about 10 years since I read this book. I may be getting some details wrong. I'm going off of what I remember, and it did not leave a good impression with me. But I may be wrong about certain things, and I am willing to own that. I still didn't like it, though. And I'm sure there are things in it that I didn't fully appreciate at the time that I might appreciate now. But I have no interest in revisiting it. I still didn't like it. And the last book we're going to be looking at today is going to make some people kind of sad, and perhaps a little upset as well. It's Unfinished Tales by J.R. Tolkien / Christopher Tolkien. As with most things J.R. Tolkien wrote, it is a high fantasy. And it's a collection of stories ranging in time from the elder days of Middle-earth to the end of the War of the Rings, so the end of where Lord of the Rings ended. So as the title suggests, these stories were never really meant to be published, as far as I'm aware. They were mostly things J.R. Tolkien wrote for himself as sort of like reference material while he was writing Lord of the Rings. They were published by his son after his death, so they weren't really meant to be their own stories, and that shows. To be clear, I love Lord of the Rings. I love the movies, and I like the books, but part of the reason why I prefer the movies to the books is that Tolkien's writing style is very, very dry. It feels more like reading a history textbook than like an actual novel. If that history textbook also dabbled in botany, because there are so many descriptions of foliage, oh my goodness. And Unfinished Tales also falls victim to that same level of dryness. This is one of like 3 books in my whole life that I have just left unfinished, funnily enough. I just couldn't do it anymore. I got to the incest story, and I was not expecting that. I did not come to a Tolkien book to read about incest plots. No thank you. And yeah, after that I bailed. I don't even remember anything that happened in the few chapters that I did manage to get through. I just remember them being painstakingly long and dull. If you love Tolkien's writing style, great. I love that for you. Genuinely. I wish I did. I just don't. And if you enjoyed Unfinished Tales, great. Tell me what happens. I'm actually curious to know what some of the other ones were. I just don't think I don't think I can read them by myself. I'm sorry, I just can't do it. And those are all the books on the list for today. Thank you so much for joining. Feel free to let me know down in the comments what you thought of these books. Did you like them? Did you have similar feelings to me? Or very, very different ones? Let me know. Let's talk about it. If you would like to find me elsewhere, you can find me on Instagram at Leia Like the Princess, where you can also find my embroidery and art store, Moonlit Cat Creations, or you can go directly to its website at moonlitcatcreations.com. Thank you again, and until next time, stay cozy.